I just want to share one real story about our partnership with Phenom and the transformation we did within Kuehne+Nagel. So probably, I don't know who knows about Kuehne+Nagel, about logistic, but I think what is really absolutely true is that throughout the crisis of the last years, everybody got aware that without logistic, nothing works. Kuehne+Nagel is a global leader. As you can see, we are number one globally in sea freight and air freight and very well positioned in the other two transports. But it's important to understand that our logistic has two things. One is about transporting goods and one is about warehouse. So we always tend to tell that we are a little bit smaller than we are in reality. We are more than 100 countries present and more than 100,000 people. But we always try to keep the ball low when it comes to present ourselves in the market. So I think the crisis has well has shown that a lot of things happen to this one, and I think it very much relates as well on what we see in the market, which is related to you, to all of us, which is HR. And if we go into this, what is that the market is expecting, and not only from the employer and from the candidate experience, but in general as well from our customers. I think the notion about purpose and the feeling of belonging was something which was coming up more clearly than in the past, where people are moving into a more digital environment. I think how can you transmit this idea of belonging to a company when you're not physically present? And I think it's a big challenge of all of us when we now see that we are trying to aim people getting back into the office in order to make sure that they have that feeling of being part of a company. Because I think you experienced this as well, that the number of unwanted attrition of the colleagues who joined us over the last 2 years, who haven't had any of the physical experience, was significantly higher than the colleagues who have been before there. So I think this is a real challenge. And Mahe already touched on this one. I think the combination between digital and human touch. I truly believe that technology and RI will not replace human beings, but it can and should enhance the experience. It should help us. So what we see is that there is a strong need for people to have this human touch, to combine technology and the possibility technology is offering with the human touch. I'll come to this in a second when I show you what we have done in order to create an experience through our people. And last but not least, I think what we found out, especially when in crisis, when things don't work anymore, then all the predictive and planned processes do not work. Then the excellence in service, how do you make it happen? When our people go the extra mile and make sure that customers see that we will help them to find out how we can make it happen, that's what makes a difference. And it created a new perspective on how excellence is a key differentiator. And my true belief is, and that goes beyond industries, is there is two differentiating factors and success factors moving forward. One is about the intelligent use of technology, combine it with human services, and second is your service quality. Because products becoming more and more equal, so you can differentiate towards the customers in the way how you engage with them. In our industry, although we are a market leader, we have a 4% market share. What is our biggest competitors? The biggest competitors are small forwarders. And what is their key differentiating? They don't have the money to invest in high technology. But what they do is the human touch. The closeness to their customers. That's where they make the difference against the big competitors. So, and we as HR and we as people have to help them. How can we as well as big companies do that? So here is that it is the core essence of our new technology, of our new strategy moving forward. It is about that we are working on an extraordinary experience. I think phenomenal experience is another word, but I think it's very much centered around what kind of experience are you able to create with your customer, with colleagues, and with candidates. And if you then go into this, I think it's absolutely obvious that something has changed. Something has changed fundamentally. And I think the experience candidates and colleagues went through by working mobile, by having a totally different setting of combining their private life with their work life, is illustrating this, that on the one hand, companies and we as HR have to give an answer how to look at the combination between private and working dimension in a more holistic, in a more integrated way. How can we make sure that people don't think that technology is replacing the interaction between us, meaning HR or the company and them, but it still stays human? And how do they feel that we think of them as an individual, what they really want? How can we personalize their experience and the intervention we have as a company with them? All of that, for me, is a clear signal of HR has to change the way how they interact and what kind of solution they provide through the company. But I consider this as a great opportunity for HR to step up and be more in the center of the strategy. But as a matter of fact, in our company, I think it's absolutely clear that the key differentiators are our people. In the crisis, where even sophisticated systems were not able to manage all this chaos, it was the experienced people, the network of global experts we had, who came up with the solution. And this was not technology. So I think that for me is a good sign that even in this new world, there is, as Mara referred to, there is an important element of human experience and skills which make the difference in order to really create value for customers. And last but not least, it's about purpose. I think the notion that people want to see that whatever we do is making a difference. And for us, it was an eye-opener when we started of recruiting people from a customer perspective. So we are as well global leader in all healthcare logistics. And when these people joined us, and I think for me that was an eye-opener, when he said, so what are you doing in logistics for healthcare? We're transporting things and bring them to hospitals and wherever. He said, no, you're saving lives. You're saving lives because the way how you operate, how you make sure that everything is delivered in time, in the quality, is the key success factor to really save lives. And I can tell you this gave such a boost to our people that all of a sudden they really understand the bigger purpose of what they're doing. What is their task in making this job as good as possible to the highest quality level? Because they really found out it really matters. It makes the difference whether in some moments people will survive or not. That for me was a key element of how we now build up the notion about what is the purpose of our jobs and how is this connected to the society and the impact we have on society. So I think these four elements are very important to understand what kind of experience we want to design for people working with us, okay? And that's, at the end of the day, drove us to our kind of mission when it comes to talent. And for me, one important element is as well, I think we said it before, if we look to traditional HR, there was always a differentiation between external recruitment and internal promotion. I think it's absolutely key that from the technology point of view, the way how we organize processes, all of these two elements are simultaneously integrated at the same time, at the same speed. It's not that you look first on internally, do we have a candidate or no? All right, now we engage with our recruitment team in order to search someone. That has to be integrated at any point in time. So therefore, our teams who are doing recruitment, they don't only do recruitment, they do placement. They should at any point in time look simultaneously what are the internal, external candidates in order to present, like an external headhunter, a list of the best qualified candidates to the hiring managers. So, and therefore, it's very important that throughout this journey, we try to really create this extraordinary experience. And Mara referred to this one. I think besides this first element of integrating external and internal promotions to one holistic process, the second element is that these four different roles which are acting in this context, being the recruiters, being the candidates, being HR, and being the hiring manager, all of them have to be as well seen as integrated part of a process. You can only create a certain experience if all of them understand the ultimate purpose and work accordingly. Because otherwise, we all know that if some of them fails being the recruitment or being the hiring manager, the experience from the candidate is not good. And he will then decide not to join us. And it's absolutely clear, as we said before, the market has changed. This is a talent-driven market. It's no longer the company. So we have to attract the talents and not the other way around. And that brought us to the experience, and I just want to refer once again, this is not an advertisement. It's the true story of the experience and the partnership we've developed with Phenom. I think when we look back, I think we realized that first of all, it is about these different elements. It required a change in our organization. So we really took away recruitment from the local organization in the 100 countries. That was not an easy one, absolutely, because they love to do that as well. And we had to prove to them that by organizing centralized teams, it was an important step to create totally different experience and really make that happen. I think we started then really as well on AX, on the employee experience, and that was where I think the partnership between Phenom and us became really relevant, because one key insight was that when it came up to a technology-driven development, and we were kind of partnering with them and saying, no, we have to look at the experience. We have to look at the candidate. We have to look at our people, how they can do this. How can we ensure that our people are in the driver's seat and technology is helping them and not forcing them? And I think that was excellent combination between the two of us, coming up now with our internal mobility board, where all people can go in and then find out jobs, because the machine is helping them to match their current skills with all available jobs. And then all of a sudden you create this kind of experience that people tell us, whoa, I never thought about moving to sales. But then the system said me, well, here is your skill set, your current skill set. Here is a certain skills gap, but here is the way how we can help you to close that gap in order to make you continue your career within sales. And people all of a sudden said, wow, this is an opportunity-driven system which helps me to make my choice. So, and all of that is driven by the candidate, and only if he says, I'm interested, then HR and his boss are involved in this one. So I think it's very important, if you're really serious around this, then you have to empower people to get this transparency, make certain choices, and then you are supported by the company in HR, and not the other way around. And last but not least, I think what we are now seeing, that we are focusing very much as well on the hiring managers. One of our programs for this year is we will have an exclusive development program for hiring managers, which will end up with a licensee to hire. So it's a qualification. We want to make sure that in the future, only managers can do the interviews who are trained. Because we know that. We have a lot of examples where, excuse my French, these hiring managers screw up the process because they're not interested, or they don't want to have time, and they don't want to put the effort on doing this job. Although we know that the key task of managers moving forward is really take care about customers and about people. So as you can see, it has been a true story, development story, and we see now, and that comes to the recruiters, where all of a sudden, as well, technology helps a lot to reduce their workload. By intelligent screening of the CVs, and really helping them to pre-select in a very intelligent way, so that they can spend their time not on looking through data, but in the clear interaction with candidates, and really focus on this one and not the other one. So it's an example where technology can really help to reduce complexity, to improve the efficiency and productivity, and free up time in order to be with others. So just some numbers, and I think I don't want to go to all of them, but it just illustrates, and probably that's then the moment where I will ask Maya to join me on the stage. I think our journey, and that's as well very good, that through the system of Phenom, we have the transparency in order, because without numbers, you cannot steer certain processes. You do not detect where are probably your pitfalls and where are your insufficient elements. So I think we gained about, as you can see here, a lot of people being attracted to us, but for me more important is the conversion rate. The conversion rate of people who are willing to give us qualified data that we could put in our CRM system, which then is an ongoing base. Because I think it's absolutely clear that talent management is about relation management. Build up a strong base of people who are interested in your company and stay in contact with them, and then hopefully can activate that database in the moment when you have the appropriate job for them to offer. And the last thing was for me really the fact when we concentrate very much on referral programs of our employees. Key insight, try to activate your people to make them part of your recruitment process. They know about the culture, they know what kind of people you're looking for, and if they refer a person, you probably can assume that they want to refer someone that they are proud of and not that they shame about when this person joins the company. So we had and we introduced this in our internal mobility platform so that our people knew at any point in time, people that they referred where the process is. That drove as well their attention to the mobility part, and we saw a lot of people who came with a referral and then started as well looking for a new job themselves. So in just this figure, we had we started this now on a global base, and we had 11,000 referrals and a conversion rate of 54%. 54% of these people who were asked whether they want to join us, they sent in their CV and their data. And we converted that into 500 hires, which is a conversion rate of 10%, which is, as you know, 10 times higher at the normal conversion rate when you have just an external offer. So to sum it up here, I do think this platform enabled us to have an integrated approach between the external search and the internal mobility. It helped us now to drive the development of these 4 key personas or key roles within this process, being the candidate experience, the recruiter experience, the hiring manager, and HR, because there is the interaction as well with the other part of the HR when it comes to onboarding, because exactly it's not the experience that ends with signing the contract, it just starts. And the next very important phase are the first 90 days. So only if you manage this, then you will create a unique and extraordinary experience for candidates. And that's what we're aiming for. So with this, please, Mark, join me here, and then probably we have some more questions. Thank you so far.
Thank you. Thank you for really giving your story and what's really going on. The one question I had whenever we spoke, Kuehne+Nagel is doing extraordinarily really well. In the last 3-4 years, what are 1 or 2 areas where it has changed as a company so differently?
I think what we show is really that when you come to the point that nothing works anymore, normally you had 10% of all the travels were not going to plan. During the crisis was the other way around, 90% were not. So it was the flexibility of people, their creativity, and the way how they connected with their colleagues in order to find it. That's the first one. And it revealed as well our creativity in the sense of how to come up with new things, which we never thought about that. And I think our aim is now how we can, these 2 elements, how we can maintain them and take them as the key drive for future growth.
So one thing in this whole last couple of years were almost like a very complex times for every company because the changes are so rapid. How was retention and talent acquisition really worked within Kuehne+Nagel? And what really worked for you and what did?
So I think for us, and that was the toughest moment when the crisis started, the initial reaction of many of our board members was we have to reduce cost. And we as a board decided, and I'm being very open here, even in conflict with the board of directors, that we say we will not lay off people. And that forced the entire HR organization to find about creative solutions how to do that. In Europe, probably you were aware, there were some supporting concepts from the state where they helped with subsidies to overcome this part. But I think the key commitment from our company and from us saying we will not lay off people that is something which we build up the trust in people saying, okay, you ask us to go the extra mile, but you are with us as well when crisis comes.
So the one thing I have seen is throughout my conversation with you and the other leaders in Europe versus the leaders in North America, I see the CHRO role in Europe is a bit different from North America. Can you elaborate on it, what you have observed?
So, and it's always slippy ground to make it in a black and white comparison what probably used to be HR in the Americas, in Europe. But let me just elaborate. I think when you look back in Europe, it was always the European HR people were very proud about their high sophisticated systems. They thought about, they designed systems about talent development and lifelong employment, which will last forever. That was something, and it's probably as well a connection with the co-determination where you have workers' council and so on and so on. So, but it was a little bit HR, detached from business. Where in the US, I saw elements where HR was closer to the business, but as well more dynamic and more agile in the sense of, but as well seeing it a little bit more as a cost factor. So the resources with fast adaptation, laying off people and bringing them back, which was culturally accepted in the US, which in Europe is a hard part. If you lay off people, you can ruin your perception in the market. So, but now I think both elements are coming together in the sense of what is the new Chief HR Officer. I think he has to think business. Think business first and then come up with a solution there. And I think from the US as well, the positive dimensions of diversity, of inclusion, of how to handle equal pay and other elements, they were influencing right now the employment concept within Europe. So getting more flexible, don't assume lifelong employment with the company, but being as well able to reintegrate people who left at one point in time. And I think that's the message that the employment of people is something where we always have to see both that it fits, but the door is still open if people left us.
It's amazing. Like the CHR roles across the international markets are changing completely, but at the same time, there are good and bad on every side. How do you really combine it and really create something wonderful is what the opportunity is. So one thing I thought about constantly, really looking at Kuehne+Nagel and the data what you have, what are the skills and competencies you require right now compared to what you used to need 5 years back?
I think when we look back, so first of all, it's this famous saying, and I think it's becoming more and more true, you recruit for personality and you train for skills. So I think the assumption that we have people who have grown up their career in forwarding, this number is shrinking. What we need, if you're a service-based organization, you need the right attitude, you need the right personality. And then you help together with technology to train people on that one. This is the one thing. The second is about more and more, as we're getting more attractive, we are recruiting out of our customer industries. So really having expert from the health industry, from others, where we need the complexity knowledge about what are their processes in order to design our solution. And last but not least, as everybody, we need a different set of IT skills. Because we need that the sophistication of our solutions is brought to the next level. And that, although we have been always very IT-driven, I think it was a different concept of IT-driven. So you need now the data science, you need now the RI experts in order to go to the next level.
So the one thing I really excited about our partnership is what we co-created together, especially on the employee experience side, manager experience side. And what is your definition of co-creation with a partner? What does a true partner looks like?
A true partner is that you act on eye level, first off. That I think we understand that we are probably coming from different points, but both sides accept that. So being very, again, black and white, it's like saying, okay, this is the technology point here, and here is the customer or the employee experience. But I think you match this very nicely, and I think one of the key success factors is that we brought up teams which were mixed between and working at the same time, between people experience in technology and people HR experts, in order to say, how can we create that experience? And then it was always pushing back on simplicity and the ability to adapt systems easily. Because I think you have to have as well, you as a solution provider, to give the customer the empowerment to make certain changes without big change requests. And that's where, if you're able to do that, then the partnership goes. And from this adaptation at the local level, you will learn which of these adaptations can be scaled into future solutions. And I think that was the story which we had, so that some of the changes now probably become more core of your entire solution, which used to be an experiment, just to use the word before, in a smaller context.
Yeah, there is no doubt about it. There are a lot of experiments we did together, and in that process, we thought there are things which don't work, and there are things which will work, and we learn from each other. But there is one thing I have seen, especially from you, which actually got these results, is the way you handle change management within the company when a new tool is being deployed. This is one area, in general, the community, the HR community, is not really doing that great a job. What is your feedback on that?
Well, first of all, we always said, and I think I'm proud to say that many of the technology evolutions and introductions we have right now are run by HR. Because it's a firm belief, and my colleagues then bought into this, that technology is probably 10% of the success. 90% is change management. And to think it through from the perspective of people who should employ and should use the technology, and how can we help them to really understand it. So what we did there is that we always, when we came, and we are about now to introduce Microsoft 365, from the beginning it was set up as a change process, where we say, how can we enable people upfront, before even the technology comes, from the mindset, from their willingness, and from their engagement, in order then to make the real technology transformation very smooth.
Awesome. So, like in terms of really looking at the future, where is the HR teams has to go, and what is the CHRO job will evolve towards? What's your observation in this dynamic, tight labor market? What do you think where we'll go?
So as I said, I think, and for me it was always a great compliment when I engaged with people and they said, okay, Lothar, what is your responsibility? They not even immediately spotted me HR, because I said to my people, you have to learn the language of the business. You have to understand the business in order then to connect with them on the part. So I think that's for me the key task for HR. Be close to the business, really understand what is the real use case. Because what is the problem? What is the problem statement? What is the use case where we as HR can add value to? And not the other way around. Not assuming, I think that was a good connection, assuming that we know already what is needed from the business side. I think that's something where I think we as HR have to understand. And then accept as well that our role is changing when it comes to candidate and employees. That we don't force them to do something, but we are there as consultants, as mentors, and as our supporter and enablers in order to their career. Support them by finding a new job, and I think that will change as well our way of talent development, of succession planning, which will be very much more employee-centric than company-centric. And that's, I think, it's a fundamental change. And we have to accept that and don't see this, that this diminishes the role of HR, but we have to accept that our intervention and interaction with the company, with the candidates, is going to be different.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for all this.
Thank you. And we were on time, huh?
Awesome. Thank you.
So I have 20 seconds left. Do you want to see my secret formula of success for all of you, which is summarizing what I took out of 25 years. So then let's go. Here we go. And it's easy. It's easy to understand. It's ACD. So there are only a few people who know the other company, the other group, which was ACDC. No, it's not ACDC, but it's ACD. And I truly believe it. And I'm saying this here because I thought through my career that I had many points where I was struggling whether I can stay authentic as a leader, because he was asking as well, what is the formula of leadership? I think the key element is try to stay authentic. Don't try to separate between you as a person and you as a leader. People will find out whether you are authentic as a leader and what you're saying is what you think and what you do. So that for me is the key essence of a true successful leader. And second, curiosity is for me the best indicator of future success. So within your selection processes, I think you should test as well how curious people are. Because curiosity is an indicator whether people are willing to rethink what they thought, their assumption, and when they want to learn something new. And I think it's their ability and their willingness to learn is a key indicator of future success of the company. So find out how curious the people are. And last but not least, that's the biggest challenge for probably the newer generation. With the overflow of information and all available there, they have a hard time to come to the point when they really get things done. Because they always think another analysis, another part of that one. And I think what you said before, do it, monitor it, and if it's wrong, correct it. But not go into the endless loops of another analysis, another try, and so on. Get things done. And that's where I measure always good leaders, whether they are willing to take the chance and to take a risk to make a call, and then stand for it and defend it, or if not, have the bravery to correct it, because they kind of acknowledge that it was a mistake. So if you remind this ACD, I think it will help you. It helped me a lot. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.